Hey y'all, I'm Kristen.
And I'm Bailey.
Welcome to Livin on a Prayer.
We're two best friends who are here to keep it real and relatable.
Through life's hills and valleys, we're here to remind you
we're all just living on a prayer. We're back, y'all, and we are excited. Okay, so today we're talking about something good, as always. But I think this is a topic that since we've started, we've had some pretty good conversations with people, and it's kind of led this to be something on my heart that I'm like, you know what? We got to talk about that.
Yeah.
We got to talk about it.
We
right?
do.
Okay,
We got to talk about it all.
We got a lot to talk about, truly, but this is where we're at today.
Let's give them something to talk about.
How about love, love, love?
That was pretty.
I was a little nervous, so I didn't really hit it the way I really wanted to.
Should we do it again?
No. I feel like I would have been better doing the let's give them something to talk about.
But you don't want me to do the...
And then you...
No, I can't even go there.
I want you to hit that note.
You don't want me to hit that note.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even warm up my vocals like that.
Well, it must be nice to be blessed.
Me.
Again.
I really am blessed.
All right, moving on.
Okay, so a few conversations that I have had since starting this has been with people who either are very new to getting to know Jesus, or maybe don't know Jesus at all, or maybe do know him but kind of don't know where they stand in their walk with faith and their relationship. And I've had lots of really good conversations with people saying that this has been almost a really good introduction for them to get to know how God works in our lives, and how we turn some of our bad experiences into good, and
or
all these
some
things.
Of them not that they aren't making time for church, but they don't want to go to church. They haven't found a place to go yet, or normally they read a daily devotional, and so instead they're kind of listening to this, and it's just kind of giving them their little dose of Jesus for the day.
And opening up some new just ideas for them, or ways oh, maybe I do want to start going to church, or maybe I do want to know more, and just opening some curiosity.
Conversations, topics that are uncomfy.
It's I had a specific conversation that really just stuck with me. She was talking about, she grew up raised to believe in God. She's I know I believe in God, but when I got to be an adult, it was kind of I finally got to make the choice for myself. Mm-hmm. And I kind of related it to growing up, your parents or your guardian, whoever, is you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and then you go to college and you're I'm gonna do
try it.
I'm doing everything you told me not to do. I am going to rebel. And I kind of feel Christianity can be like that sometimes, when you're a kid and your mom's you have to go to church on Sunday, you have to do this, and you're I don't want to go to church, and I don't want to recite this thing you're making me recite, or whatever it is. And then when you get to make your own decision, you're I'm free. I don't have to go to church if I don't want to. I don't have to talk to God every night if I don't want to. There are people that are almost so forced on it and not really explained on how it's supposed to be, that when they get older they kind of rebel against it, and they're I don't think that's for me, because they only know one version of it, you know, or they only know the way that they were showed, and they think that's how everyone else does it, and they're just it ain't for me.
Yeah.
So she was kind of in that boat, and she was lately it's been on my heart to get to know Jesus. And she's I don't know how that looks for me. It's really intimidating. I don't know where to start. I definitely can't read the Bible. It was all this stuff. And I was just listening to her, because I've been there, and I'm just thinking in my head, how what I'm about, whatever comes out of my mouth is really going to affect her in that moment. Because I've been to where I've been in that spot, and I've had people immediately start well, you need to get to church. You need to read this Bible. You need to read. And you're just
overwhelmed.
No, I can't. I don't know where to go to church. I don't even have a Bible. What? So I was thinking, I'm don't say anything weird, or don't say anything. But I'm well, first of all, the first step is it's tugging on your heartstrings, right? And she's yeah, but have you ever been nervous to go to the gym? How intimidating the gym is? And I was
try something new. Go to
going to a gym. You're everyone knows each other. They know how to use that machine. I've never even seen that machine. They're really fit over there. I'm not. It's all those thoughts. She said, that's how I feel about going to church. And I was Yes.
Like you don't fit in.
I get that.
Or
like,
you don't know where you fit in.
Yes. And like, she's like, that's how like intimidated I am to go to church and like to start this because I'm new and I don't know people. And I was just like, yes, I get that. And that is so valid. Like, it is scary to go to church when you've never been. It is scary to go to a new place that you've never been and like everyone knows each other. And I was just like, look, I've been there. And if you want to come to church with me and come, like, you know me, you can sit by me. If you're uncomfortable, I'll leave with you. Like, I don't care. Like, you can come. And she's like, that's nice of you. But like, still was like, nervous, you know? Ooh. And I was like, that's fine. Like, if you're ever, like, whenever you feel good about it, just let me know.
Yeah.
But I've been in a place when like, before I am where I am now, I wasn't going to church. And when people would, like, be like, come to church with me, I was like, okay. But in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to church with you. Like, that's, like, a lot of pressure, you know? So my main thing thinking through all this was, like, your journey at your pace is okay. Like, however Absolutely. You find Jesus and find your place, it's not going to look the same as someone sitting right next to you. You know, it's like your pace, your timing. And it was something that just was so heavy on my heart because just 3 years ago, I was in a completely different place. But people around me sometimes made me feel like not a good Christian or not worthy because I wasn't doing the things that we're like supposed to do. And it was like really intimidating. It scared me. Yeah. Like it made me like, I don't want to go to church with you. Stop asking me to go to church with you. But looking back, they're just trying to like help me. They knew if you're at church, like it's so good. But to me, I was like, I'm a really good Christian. I have a great relationship with Jesus. Like I don't need to go to your church.
And
you know?
can. That's
you
not,
can. No,
right?
You absolutely can. But at the time I
discounting.
was very much like, but really in my head, I was very intimidated to go to a new church, go to a new place, like open up that. And I just wasn't ready. I simply was not ready. And that's okay. Now I am. Now I go to church every Sunday and it's changed my life. But it's like my timing on it was different than people around me. So also just to like people who are Christians, just be gentle with your approach to people. Like I feel like most people that made me feel judged were Christians.
Yeah, because because they're so knowledgeable about it and they have a lot to say
eager.
And they want you and they're like, no, I'm going to show you the good things. Yes. But sometimes it's almost so pushy that it's a turn off. And that even can be. Me as a I will say as a good Christian, as somebody who walks in faith every day, and I have a lot of good spiritual conversations with people on the daily, but when others sometimes like this is just an example and it's really with people that are not like as close to me, like when you tell me this it doesn't get me, but this has happened recently. Like I was going through something and like you could see it on my face. I was wearing it and somebody was like, why don't you just come over here and I'm just gonna like we're gonna just pray out loud. And it was
probably
like
me.
No, it wasn't you. I'm saying when I know. You know me and it's sometimes more in like
a little more intimate.
An intimate setting, but this was in public and it was in front of like other people and I was like,
I'm good.
And then like for the whole rest of the day I'm like, I mean, should I have let her? Like she wanted to pray for me. And then I'm like, no, that was like really, really
it was
like
aggressive for you.
Personal and aggressive. And like, it almost kind of made me feel like, what are your intentions?
Yeah.
So me as a good Christian, like I even was turned off because it was a little too pushy.
And that
for
happens.
me. So I think you saying like, we have to give people a little bit of grace and be gentle.
You
with
just don't know where people
their
are
walk.
And their walk. Yeah, you really don't. And like someone might be really like eager to, and that's like, I'm glad that people weren't gentle with me. So now I can like learn from that and be like, when she was talking about all this, like, you know how bad I wanted to be like, I'm going to pick you up and you're going to come to church with me and we're going to talk every day and I'm going to be your best Bible buddy. And and she would have been like, honestly, I never want to see you again. Like you are a creep.
Right.
Which I am.
Because it gets a little pushy.
It does. And like, I'll never forget like someone like I was, again, going back, let me just rewind to like my, so I always am like where I am now versus where I was then. And there's nothing wrong with either version of me. I truly believe. But
are you sure about that?
Actually, yeah. No, I mean, I'm not sure. Okay. There is definitely things wrong with me all the time, but I give myself grace for the journey. from where I was. But so whenever, I grew up raised in church, went to college, stopped going to church completely, but still I've always believed in God. I've always believed in Jesus. I've always had a faithful heart, never questioned it at all. Never. I was never someone who went through the is he real? Is he not? None of that. I've always known, but has my relationship always been super strong? No. Have I always done everything poured completely into God? Absolutely not.
But we talk about this all the time. That's with any relationship.
Yes.
It's going to ebb and flow, right? It will be.
And college for me was I was very much yes, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. But I don't even, I don't remember. I was going to say I don't remember if I even prayed much, but don't remember too much if I'm being honest with y'all from that.
You were having a little party time.
I was having a little college fun. But straight up, who knows where I was, truly. I was definitely not doing godly things. That's just where that was. Yeah. So then I start my job. I'm getting more into
I'm just looking at you she ain't wrong. I mean, I think we all get.
I'm a good person, all right, but I was out there.
Well, you're saying,
doing what I gotta do.
We live this routine mundane life of you have to do this. This is your routine. This is what you've got to do. And then when you kind of get out of your parents' roof,
things do get a little.
Yeah, you get a little shaken up. You test the waters. You kind of see the boundaries.
I was definitely testing the waters.
Some people do it a little earlier than others, but
yeah, I think everyone kind of goes through their little. I mean, maybe not everyone, but most people go through a little phase of ooh, girl, you're lucky to still be alive. That's just me. I'm being honest. Whatever. So anyway, I meet Aaron, meet my husband, we get married. We're obviously my faith starts growing a little more as I mature, I would say, as I started a career and I knew I'd have a family and I have a husband. So now our marriage, we wanted to have a foundation, all these things. But when we had Ezra, our first baby, we were we got to start going to church. I want my kids raised in a church. I was so scared to go to church. And this is the church I've gone to my whole life. I have been there my whole life. There's no reason for me to be scared, but I was scared. And Aaron was scared.
Because you moved away from it.
Right. And I hadn't been in years.
Right.
And Aaron was raised Catholic, so he's I can't go to that church. I'll never
This is weird. This is different. You really want me to walk in there.
And he's already socially uncomfortable in brand new situations. He's where are we going? Who's going to be there? Do I know anyone? That's just him. So he's wait, what? We're not going to Catholic church and we're going to what? And I'll never forget the first time I brought him, he's hits me. He's that's a guitar. There is a guitar. That man has a guitar on stage. I was yeah. He's why does he have a guitar? He was so, because at his church he grew up in, his Catholic church, they don't worship and have a worship band. And he was he's gonna play the guitar at church. I was he is gonna play the guitar at church. I don't know what you're talking about.
You were question mark?
Yeah.
Why is this a big deal?
Thought it was crazy that people were drinking coffee during church. He's we can bring coffee in here. It was just a whole new world. Yeah. And he was this is weird. This is not what it's supposed to be. So he was extremely intimidated.
Because of his norm. It wasn't his norm.
It was not his norm. I was just I know I've been up to no good. Am I supposed to even be at church, maybe we should just stay home and pray together, So there was a very long time we knew we were supposed to be going to church, but we're oh, let's just sleep in, or we're tired, or we'll go next week.
We'll do something else.
There was always something. But
it's always next week. It's always there's always next week.
There's always next week.
There is always next week.
There's not always next week.
No. I mean, there's always church next week.
It could happen.
It could happen.
I don't want to say it.
I know, but that's like you're saying, let's relate it back to the gym. I'll just try tomorrow. Thing. Yeah, I'll go to the class tomorrow. And
or maybe next week I'll feel better and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's how I am with the gym. It's very intimidating still. Now I'm more comfortable when I'm there, but to get me there is still this fear.
Getting there is half the battle.
It is. And I
say that about everything.
That's really good.
Yeah, getting there is half the battle. Once you walk in the door, no matter how you show up, because I will say sometimes I'll walk in the door of either the gym or church, and some days I'm I really didn't want to come here. Like, this was
Yes.
not this. It was really hard for me to get up and make it here. It was really hard for me to stop what I was doing and make it here. But once you leave, you almost always feel so much better.
I think that is always.
Even if you don't show up at your best.
You did something.
You did something to change that.
Yeah.
You heard a message. You
did,
moved your body.
Yes,
you did whatever to make yourself better.
Yes.
Or you know,
and that's the thing.
We always talk about the things that you digest. Like,
yeah.
whether it's news, social media, conversations, church, the gym, whatever it is, whatever you're taking in, like, is it making you better or is it not? And
that is so true
when
for,
you
like,
show
anywhere
up,
you are.
When you show up and you step foot in the door, whether it's church or wherever it's going.
It's kind of crazy how this church and gym thing is like.
Yeah, I'm really liking this.
But it's so relatable.
We've never talked about it like this.
We really haven't, but it makes it a little more relatable for people who, like, maybe have been to one or the other and can kind of, like, I feel like those are two big places that people get a little, like, uncomfy to go. And or you have to, like, really, like, force yourself to go. But when you leave, you always feel better either place. So I love that analogy because it's, like, it really is true.
Yeah.
And I've been scared of both. So, like, I really am, like, it is that same feeling of, like,
Let me ask you this question. Do you think that, like, when you're scared, what are you scared of? Because it could be, like, is it whoever's preaching that day or whoever the priest is? Is it whoever is, you know, saying the sermon? Is it the community of
I think
people
it was, like,
around
for
you?
me, it was more so feeling like an outsider. Like, no one knows me. I didn't know, like, the worship music, like, I didn't know any words to the songs, and I was just, like, you know, standing, like, and everyone's, like, singing, and you're just, like, okay, I don't know this one, like, whatever, and then, like, you see people, like, hugging, and, like, hey, oh my gosh, how you been, and you're just, like, no one knows me, and you just feel, like, really alone.
It's like a new kid in a new school.
Yes, like, it's the first day of school.
First day of school.
It is like that. So, like, and even though, like, I knew the pastors, like, one of them has been there since I've been there, so, like, I was focused on, like,
I know this.
I know him.
This is normalcy to me.
Like, this is, like, I know him. I've been in this church a million times, but, like, just the, like, being the new girl almost, I guess, felt, and, like, for Aaron, it was just more, like, this is not, he wasn't raised in this kind of church, so to him, the whole thing was, like, this is different. Like,
it's a little woo-woo for him.
It's a little, like, he's like, okay. I'm like, what? This is great. But in my head, I'm like, ugh. So I think it was like, I think it's just that fear of, like, the unknown. Yeah. And then, like, once we had Ezra, like, where do we go to bring him to the nursery? And, like, what if he doesn't like the nursery? And that was a big one that you could use. That's a crutch that you can really use, is like, oh, I've never left him anywhere. I'm not going to start now when he's a little older. Like, I used that, but, like, he would have been fine. He was a baby, like,
we're going to church and I'm bringing my kid
and
to the Bible
school. He'll get over it. But, like,
Sunday school.
It was really easy to, like, use that as, like, well, he's just little and he's never, like, no one's ever watched him besides my mom. Like, we're just not ready. Like, I used that for a while, but, like, I straight up knew. I was, like, making that up. Like, I was like, good excuse. People cannot, like, when it's about your kids, like, that's the one thing people, like, don't question. They're like, oh, your baby's sick? And you're like, yeah, so sick, can't come. And not sick, you know? Like, I mean, shoot, I've been there. I know every mom's been there. But so once we started getting in a regular routine of going, and the kids were in school there, so, like, I knew a few, like, their teachers, like, oh, hi, I know you. They were comfortable in the classrooms. Like, the more we went, the more comfortable I got, the more the sermon started to make sense to me, because I was, like, invested in what I was hearing and not just, like, nervous the whole time. Yeah. I learned all the words I know all the songs. Like, it's like, it became so comfortable that I was like, it's the only place I want to be now. Like, if I could have that every morning, it would
start your day off right.
Oh, man, it would be a whole new world. So at the time when people are like, you need to come to church with me, I'm like, I'm fine, which I was. I still had a great relationship with God. I still spoke with him. I would, like, die on the rock of, like, I probably have a better relationship with God than half the people that are in that building on Sundays, because some people just go, and that does happen. But
it's like a social thing for them. They're like, I'm here, I'm showing up. But then, again, when they leave church, it's like,
like,
did you hear anything that you said?
Are you praying?
What's your actions?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I will say, and like this is 100% like me, like it is like we've talked about it tons of times, when you pour into a relationship, you get more out of it, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like me going to church, it is not like, it doesn't make me better than anyone else. It doesn't make my relationship higher than this person's relationship with God. It's for me and God. And I have felt so much closer to him, so much deeper in my worship, in my prayer, in my readings, like everything. That is like, I'm going on a date with Jesus every Sunday.
Right.
And it works for me. And I love it.
Yeah.
And that's the part I'm eager to share with people, because I'm like, it really is different for me. Like my life today from 2 years ago, going to church every Sunday, my family, it's part of our routine. It is different. But do I want to shove that down your throat, make you feel wrong if you're not going? Absolutely not, because I've been there.
Well, and I think we talk about this a lot of times. Like, everybody's walk in relationship looks different.
Yes.
So if that helps you, like going on a date, if going on a date, going to dinner, going to the movies.
Everyone's love language is different.
Everybody's love language is different. Like, is it just reading with Jesus and like spending quiet time? Like, that may be your church,
time,
right?
Yeah. Where two
Your
are
church,
gathered.
wherever you're going, is really just something to help you, and it's a stepping stone. It's assistance. You could be homeschooled, or you can go to a school.
Right.
So like, it is just another tool that aids in your relationship. And that looks different for everybody.
Yes. And it's important to find your tool, you know? Like, that is one thing, like, I will say, like, it is just another tool. But if you don't have a tool at all, like, if you don't have any,
it's a good starting point.
It's a good place, or just like try to find it, whatever that may look like. So if you're scared to go to church, like maybe just get a Bible and start a Bible program, or maybe just sing worshiping, or like you were about to say what your tool is.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. Hi,
Vanna White.
It's just like your church is different than my church, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like, I was thinking on this earlier, but like, if you go out of town, are you going to go to a different Methodist church?
If there was one around me, I would.
But do you seek it out?
I don't. Sorry. I was like,
no, you're like, let me think
but I'm
about
like,
this.
no, I don't. Now, if I'm like visiting family in Texas, like I'll absolutely
where they
go with them.
Yeah.
But like, no, if we're like, I don't know, like I guess I'm trying to think of a vacation, but I don't really.
Well,
I was trying to think of like where I go. I'm like, Texas. I see my sister in California, but like if I was visiting her, I wouldn't seek out.
Yeah.
But would I read my Bible every day while I'm still there? Yeah.
Right. So that's something for you. But like
honestly, I'll just watch my church online.
Well, that's nice that you can stream.
Yeah. I'll watch it usually like later, or if I'm able to watch it when it's live, like at the beach last weekend, me and Aaron will watch
it.
Yeah. So it's kind of just like.
You still feel like you're going, or you still feel like you're there even though you're not presently there.
But I will tell you, when I'm not in there, I don't really be listening that good. Like when I'm watching it, I'm not focused. I'm like, if I'm like in another place, or like I'm in my house, I'm like, the laundry's over there, that kid's over there,
you're distracted.
And I'm just like, well, shoot, that didn't work.
Yeah, you're distracted.
But when I'm in there and my kids are in the nursery and there's literally nothing else for me to do besides listen and like make eye contact, I'm like, it's just different.
Right.
But keep going. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well,
I just was like asking that question because I'll say I wouldn't call myself a church jumper, but like.
Yeah, that's all right.
But I like to. I don't have one
different.
But yes, but I don't have one Catholic church that I like love to go to around here.
A church home.
Yeah.
If you will.
I don't have a church home.
You don't have one place.
I'm Catholic, so I'm gonna go to mass. So
Yep.
even if I'm out of town, one of the most beautiful things I think about being Catholic, and I stand on this, is that no matter where I go in the world,
it's the
I can go to a different city, I can go to a different state, I can go to a different country, even if it's in a different language, mass is the same. And that is something for me that's routine. I always say
that's special. That like it's home.
Yeah, Catholic mass reminds me of math. Like, no matter where you go.
Yeah, it's the same.
The math is mathing.
The math is mathing. The Catholic is Catholicing.
Yes, basically. But, like, literally, it's so beautiful that, like, no matter where you go.
That's special. That kind of makes me want to shed a tear.
But, like, even when I'm home, even when I'm home, like, if I want to go at 9:30 in the morning, I go wherever has a 9:30 mass. If I want to go at 11, if I want to go at 5, 6, 7, whatever works, like
I like that.
That's where I'll go. I like to listen to different people speak. That's just
yeah, but like that's a really good point too, because like a lot of people who are like, I'm Methodist, but I feel like it's very similar to like non-denominational. I don't feel like there's very like many things
strict
that
rules
are like
that
super,
make you Methodist.
Yeah. So I guess I really don't like identify as a Methodist. I'm really just like, I'm a Christian, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm comfortable with like hopping, but I will say like there is like all these churches aren't the same. So
right.
like finding your church home to someone who's not Catholic actually is like important, because you may go somewhere that you can't relate to the pastor, the music's not really like hitting it for you, and like you don't feel like you're getting much out of it. So it's like two very different things.
Right. But I will say I'm also not somebody that like won't go to church. Like I've gone to church with you.
You've come with me.
Like growing up, if I was sleeping at a friend's house and we were going to a non-denominational church
go.
On Sunday, you go.
Yeah.
You
and
go
it's
to
just
Sunday
a different
school
experience.
with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no way that you can't walk in there and get something out of it. You know?
For sure.
I dated a guy that was non-denominational, and he was like, I will never walk into a Catholic church with you. And I was like, okay, we'll go to non-denominational every Sunday. Literally me, I sees nothing wrong with that, which there is nothing wrong with that, except that he was kind of putting like a
he was not
on
really,
that for me.
The door was closed.
Yeah, he was not open to it. But
he was not the one.
No, but I literally was like, okay. We'll go to, and he's like, we'll go to non-denominational, and I'm like, yeah,
sure.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Like, if that's going to get you to church,
right.
Like, if it's either you and I go to non-denominational or we don't go at all because you're not coming to, like, we're going to go.
Yeah,
right?
I was kind of like that with Aaron, to be honest. Like, I was like, I'm not going to Catholic church. Not that I won't go, because I've gone. But I get nothing out of it because I'm very ADD. And it's very like
well, and it's
quiet,
very routine. And if you don't, if it's not something you grew up doing, like,
and
you kind of
think it's part of it.
You do think it's woo woo and weird.
Yeah,
you're like they're kneeling, they're sitting, they're standing, they're
like, this is a lot of work.
How do I know?
This is a lot of work.
Yeah,
up down, and then like everyone knew what they were saying, and I was like, like moving
I know,
because
you don't want to be the one that doesn't know what they're saying.
Anything. And then like it was just like the few times I had gone in high school, I was like, no, I don't belong here. I don't even know what they're talking about. So I think it was that
it like turns you
how
off
Aaron
a little.
felt at my church, like, why does he have coffee? Why does he have a guitar? I was like, why are we up down eating these crackers, like all this stuff, like it's like, oh man, you know. But like
Bailey's talking about communion
we eat
as
bread.
a cracker.
We eat bread.
Wow.
And y'all had like little cracker snacks.
I always say that it tastes like a stale waffle.
And Aaron's like,
I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but the host to me tastes like a stale waffle.
That was a little stale. I like remember the day I went in high school, and I was just like, and then I found out I wasn't supposed to do it because I wasn't Catholic. I was supposed to.
The rules.
And I was like, oh man, I don't think I'll return. But like, that's the thing. It's like when you're new to something and you have no idea what you're like walking into, and that's your experience, you're like, yeah, I'm never going back. So it turns you off. It could literally have been like someone trying a new church, and someone like looks at them kind of weird, or is like, well, who are you? And then they're like, oh yeah, I'm never going back again. That was it. That was it. That lady didn't know who I was. I think I'll just quit. Like, it happened. So like being gentle with people who are new in their journey, like wherever they are. Like, again, I just started reading the Bible this year, and I had people that were like, but you don't read the Bible. Or like, but have you read the Bible? And I'm like, no, stop making me feel
I don't.
I'll
straight up tell you I don't.
Like, stop making me feel like a lesser Christian than you because I don't read the Bible. Please stop doing that.
But again, I know so many people that can quote scripture, but they don't live it.
Right. Or they can, it's like you hear all these like popular verses and see all the quotes form on Instagram, and like people memorize them. And sometimes we don't even know where those are coming from, like what story that came from, or like what it really means. Like some verses have been kind of twisted over time to like mean something, and it really doesn't. And I'll just like, I will never forget, I had someone one time tell me like, do you have anyone in your life who like knows the Bible that can help you with that? And I was like, huh? Like, it was such a, like, what's it called? Insult.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like.
They were knocking you down.
And when I left, I felt like I'm not a good Christian. Like, when I finished that conversation, I was like, okay, I don't know the Bible. Like, and like, maybe that's why I'm having all these, like, I was spiraling, and it was the enemy making me think.
Is that what made you want to know the Bible? Because you were like, I'm going to do it.
That was years ago, but that has stuck with me, and it was not my reason I wanted to read the Bible, but the way it was said, like, stuck with me, because I was just like, dang, it was hurtful. Like, y'all really, like, there's people that really think, like, if you don't read the Bible, if you don't go to church, you're not good enough. Christian. Yeah. You don't know enough. Like, you can't get through. You can't talk about Jesus to anybody else, like, because you don't know. She made me feel like that, honestly. Like, you're not really that educated, or like, you don't really know the word. And I was like
Some days, cricket. Some days I feel like, should I really be going on this podcast today and like really talking? Because how educated am I? Like, there are so many more people.
We don't know like anything.
Yeah, no, we don't.
We're just two little girls. Remember, a brunette and a blonde with an inseparable bond.
That's us.
That's us,
and
bro.
And truly, everybody that's listening, not everybody, but most of you that are listening, I know you feel this way too. So just know that we are all on the walk together.
Yeah, we are just we are in different seasons, and we are still like we said, we don't know the Bible. Like, I'm just starting the Bible, so like it's okay.
Yeah, and you're gonna find me doing other things rather than reading the Bible, because I'll tell you, if I'm reading the Bible, I'm gonna be thinking
falling asleep.
I'm just gonna be thinking about other things. Like, I know the way that my brain works, so
I still do that.
I have to be present. I have to sit like in an adoration chapel, and instead of reading the Bible, I read
like a book or something.
That will tie or relate or like help me on my journey, because that's just what helps me.
And also, that's just to where you are. Who's to say in 5 years you're not like, I'm going to read the Bible. Because I never thought I'd be reading it front to back, ever. And I've tried to open it so many times over my life. Like, okay, people tell me to start here because it's the easiest book. And I start, and I'm like, man, I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't have time for that. I'd rather be reading a thriller. Like, give me a book, you know? Yeah. And it was just on my heart this year.
Wait, I'm just laughing because I remember when you first started this, I think it was like it was February or March. It was the second or third month of the year.
Yeah, I started it in January, so it was probably.
And she called me one day, and she's like, I got to tell you something. I said, what? And she said, the Bible is really a little bit of a scandalous, mischievous thriller book.
I was like, dang.
And I said, what? And she's like, some of the things these people did and the way that Jesus handled it. I mean, he wasn't always...
Yeah, I was like, dang, God.
He really went there.
You tough out there. And, like, some of the stories,
and I was cracking up laughing, and she's like, no, I mean, like, it's, like, really good. Like, you know, like, when you read, like, one of those, like, Colleen Hoover books. Like, that is how I feel. I was like, y'all, you are relating the Bible to these, like, fiction books that you're reading.
I did.
Love stories.
I had no idea. Because some of you hear, like, the basic stuff you hear, and you're like, oh, my gosh, that story, he walked on water, beautiful. Oh, he put all the animals on the ark. Good job, Noah. Like, you know. But then you get to reading, and you're like, he what? She did what with who? And he did that. And then God said what?
And then God saved her, and now she is.
And look at her now. Like, literally. And I was like, this program I'm doing starts you from the beginning, but it takes you like in order of how things actually happen, so it does like jump you sometimes, but like it's stories I've never had read, and I was like, oh, this is really hot. This is heavy. Some of this stuff is crazy. And then it kind of just brought me to the reality of like, these things that happen like happened on earth. Like, God is not just some big like, oh, all these things are floating, like, because you hear the story, an imagination. So to you it's like, but then I'm like reading the details of it, and I'm like, whoa, like the things that happened, and the things that God put these people through to get us to where we are today, and the things that he did to teach people hard lessons and all this. I'm like,
and you know what I think's tough about all this too, sometimes, like, when you're reading the Bible, like, you're reading a book, right? So sometimes we do get a little, like, we go into our imagination and think about it, and then until we see a movie about it, it's not clear because it's not visual, right? I had somebody tell me once that we were on, like, a very surface level conversation, but we were just talking about being a Christian, like, where do you go to church? Is this something? And he said to me, like, I don't know that I believe in God, because, like, why do I need to believe something that's just, like, written in a book? And I was like, huh? Like, that to me was so weird. I just was like, what?
But I get that.
But now that I think about it, I'm like, I mean, he kind of has a point. Like,
it's just a book.
It's just a book.
And who wrote it? And how do we know that they were telling the truth?
And how is this real? And then I'm like, no. Like, how do you not know that God is real and that you don't feel these things walking through life with you and every blessing and every miracle?
What happens when you go? Like, what do you, like, wouldn't you want to, like...
I didn't go that far yet.
Oh, sorry. Y'all didn't even... You said it was surface level. I'm like, so when you die...
No, I'm like, in my head... It was surface level. In my head, though, after I had that conversation with him, I was like...
Dang.
But, like, God made the sand and the trees, and how do you think all this got here? Just
got
here because of science? Right. No, and then I keep going, and I'm like, how do you not see these, like, beautiful blessings and miracles and... situations that turn around for good? Like, you think that just happens?
And some people think it just happens, and that could be like the people that obviously like haven't quite found their walk or don't really know, or could have been pushed away or turned away by someone somewhere that's like, no, there's no way that's real.
Yeah.
But like, those are the people too that I just like continuously pray for, because it's just like really sad to think you don't know them. And you don't feel them, and you don't have them. See, I can get creepy and scare people away, too.
You can.
But, like, it's just...
I told you that once.
Yeah, you did.
She sent me a text message once, and I was like, okay, pump the brakes, Turbo. Like, you're going to freak people out.
I was like, all right, cool. Cool. But, like, it's good that you tell me that, because, like, I was once freaked out, and I don't want to freak people out.
You're just so passionate about it. That's like when you believe in something so wholeheartedly, like, you could be a salesman for it.
Yes, and the truth is, like, the shift I've seen in my life... since I gave my life to Christ last September, like, I wish I could just let everyone feel it through me. Because it's, like, it's real. Like, it's real. And I've always been a Christian. I've always believed in God. I've always loved Jesus. I've always lived to try to please him and do everything I'm supposed to do. But this is different, straight up.
Until you
different.
Surrender.
I'm on fire.
Until you surrender and, like, make that choice.
Yes.
You don't see the fruits.
Yes. And, like, surrendering is, like, really hard, but it is something I straight up do now. Like, I can just, like, be going through something, and I'm like, this is God's. This is straight up God's. Or, like, we were talking the other day about, like, just, like, trying to please people and, like, make people happy. And, like, I'm a huge people pleaser. You're a people pleaser. But it was, like, this reality of, like, I literally say this out loud, and it sounds, like, weird, but when I'm going through something or feel like someone doesn't think I'm good enough, I'm like... the only person I have to please is God. The only person that I should care if they judge me is God. The only person who has to like me is God. So if you don't like me, if you don't think I'm good enough,
then you're not meant to be in my life.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's none of my business what you think about me. Just take it somewhere else. Don't let me know you don't like me, because I'll lose sleep for about 2 years.
Yeah.
But the only thing that matters in my life really is what God thinks of me. And that's something that's really been over the last like 3 months. I'm working really hard at, but it's a really cool thing to like have that piece of like, wow, you don't like me? Like old me would have been like, what can I do? I will literally buy you a house. I will sell you my dog, my kids. You want, what can I do to make you happy? Like I was like that much of a people pleaser. It was like sick.
Like you didn't want an ill word of your name in the same sentence
anywhere,
by anybody
in the world.
No.
If you were saying something about me, I was going to throw up.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, say it, just not to my face.
Right. But those people, like, are we diving into this?
No.
A little?
Are we? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know where you're going. I just said no because I got nervous.
No. Like, do you want me to say this or do you not?
Say whatever you want.
Like, being a people pleaser, it's like, why even owning businesses, I've changed my train of thought with this, too. It's like, if someone doesn't want you, if they don't like you, if they don't want to use you, if they don't want to come to you for services, like, don't chase them.
Right. Let them not come to you.
Like, you are doing a disservice to yourself. You're going to go chase that person. You're going to convince them why they should stay with you. They're going to come back to you and then...
still not be pleased because there's probably a thousand other reasons.
They're not going to be pleased, and then you poured into somebody who didn't care when you could have been pouring into somebody who did care.
Right. Amen.
You're not even pouring into yourself.
That's
and
a word.
You are...
that's a bop.
You're, like, depreciating your value.
It's true.
For someone
else's happiness.
who doesn't see your value.
Yeah.
And then guess what? they're probably going to leave anyway. They're probably not your friend. They probably don't want to see you succeed. And guess what?
You're probably going to get upset again.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, we're human.
Right. But I mean, like, you could have just been upset once and just let it go and, like, moved on. But then you're going to try to, like, please them and they're still going to leave. And then you're, like, extra upset because you poured into
them. And
if
they leave and they don't like you and then they realize, like, the grass ain't greener and they come back, then maybe that's a conversation to be had.
But that's the same with, like, all relationships, everything in your life. Stop chasing people, baby. Let them chase you. Just kidding.
But then they're chasing you.
Y'all can chase me all y'all want. You ain't gonna catch up. I'm just kidding. Okay, but really,
that was weird.
That was so weird. Honestly, should we cut that out?
Probably.
I don't know what I was even talking about. Like saying you could chase me.
We're talking about being people pleasers.
No, I know, but like that was weird.
That was weird.
That wasn't like a saying.
Okay. Anyway,
who basically back on track to what we're talking about originally before that blurb, but that was important. Just like give yourself grace wherever you are in your relationship with God. If you have been like questioning it, and maybe this podcast has even been a good outlet for you to kind of like dip your toes in it, great. Keep listening. If you ever do want to come to church with me or Kristen, let us know. Like straight up, y'all can come with us. Like
I will say, okay, this is you saying that. I don't always go to church with a group or with my family or with
you go a lot alone.
I go a lot alone, and I will tell you, when I first decided that like I really need to start going back, like I don't like to do things by myself. Anybody that knows me knows
it's actually like your worst nightmare.
It is my worst. I love being with people.
Yes.
I love
you don't like
relationships.
Being alone.
Like who wants to come with me, and I will offer everybody in my family. I will text my whole group of friends. Who's gone today? Who hasn't gone? Anybody want to come to 5 p.m.? Whatever. And when I'm home and I'm here, because
she's not here a lot because she do be traveling the world.
We'll go to church, different places, and I always know people in church.
Right.
But it's different, like when you go, right? Like if I go with a group of people, I'm gonna sit with them.
Right.
If I go by myself, I could go sit by the people that I know, but I didn't go with them. It's just like a thing. And so then for a while, like I made the choice to go by myself a few times. And every time I left, I was sad and I felt defeated. And I'm like,
girl,
I just want somebody that wants to come with me.
Yeah.
I want
like a community, like a little church community.
Yeah.
Like you want to know, like,
or like my person, like every Sunday we're going to go to church
like a workout buddy.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, hold you accountable.
Yes,
and it's
it holds you accountable. It's somebody that wants to go with you, even like it makes it like a routine, or hey, we're gonna go at this time, whatever. But even walking in and like, seeing families or couples or friends, and then I was like always by myself, and I got like really defeated for a while, and then finally I was like, it doesn't matter, because honestly, it's just a relationship with me and Jesus at this point. So like I'm going no matter what.
That's it.
I'm just going to go,
baby.
No. And after church, I would see everybody and we would talk and whatever. But still, like there are moments where I'm like, I don't want to go alone.
I'm by myself.
If somebody would just come with me, it would be great. And when I tell y'all, almost every Sunday that I'm around, I'm like, who wants to go? I think I'm going to go at 5:00. I think I'm going to do this. Who wants to? I'll send my whole family group text, all my friends. Like I'm saying, like I will say,
you will fight to.
Who wants to go? Because I don't want to go alone.
Do you think that God's trying to like teach you a lesson?
That I need to be alone?
No, like that it's not about like who's standing next to you at church, and like that you can do hard things alone. Like you can.
I mean, yeah, probably, but also at the same time, I'm like, I would like somebody to come with me, and I don't think it's gonna hurt them.
Yeah, that's true.
If they come.
That's true. Well, you can always come with me, even though I know it's not a Catholic church. But
it's okay.
If you ever want to join me, we could sing together.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
See, find you some good friends. But really, if anybody
if anyone wants to go to church with Kristen, I was saying specifically
Kristen the Christian.
That's cute. Specifically, a Christian man, tall, dark, and handsome. We're trying to find her a man. But that'd be nice, right?
Yeah.
If we can find you a little soulmate at church.
Yeah. Or that wants to come to church. Yeah.
Or
if you don't want to come to church and you just want to go on a date, I'll bring you to church, and maybe
y'all date. Y'all can go to church and lunch. That's a dreamy first
I'm more
date.
of like a church and dinner kind of
Okay, church
girl.
and dinner, because you like to go
I like to go
5.
in the evening.
My girl don't be waking up for nothing.
I like the evening.
She's an evening girly.
5 or 6 p.m. is like
I like that.
my sweet spot.
Okay, so y'all heard it here first. She's available on Sundays at 5. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. Anyway, so wrapping it up.
Mm-hmm.
Just give yourself grace, basically. And like, if you are someone who's trying to introduce someone to God or bring them into a holy relationship, also be gentle.
Yeah.
Like, just respect that it's a big thing. To believe in a spirit, a greater spirit, is a big deal. And some people are never taught that in their entire lives. So, like, as an adult, to just be like, people are trying to get you to church and all these things, that can be really scary. And
well,
like,
that's
really
like if somebody, you're not going to just start off by running a marathon.
Right.
You're going to start with maybe 0.25 of a mile on a treadmill.
Yes, that's it.
Then you're going to move to 0.5.
There is nothing wrong.
One day you might be at 5 miles, you might be at 20 miles. It'll never be me. You're not going to find me running. But it's the same thing. Like, you have to start with baby steps.
Got to start somewhere. And I was about to say there's no rush, but there kind of is a rush because, like, tomorrow's never promised or anything like that. So, like, if y'all want to start now, it's a good time. But if not, just know, like, your pace and your timing, like, Jesus has you exactly where you're supposed to be. Now, he's probably tugging on your heart for a reason, and just, like, give into that. And if there's whatever it looks like for you that makes you feel like you're pouring into that relationship, like we were talking about, it may be reading a devotional. It may start as simple, like, as Jesus Calling. That is such a great devotional.
It's a great devotional.
I remember, like, starting with that. To me, I was like, I'm reading the Bible. Like, to me, that was 100% the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And it filled me up. It felt great. It was so relatable. And it was just a quick little daily thing. And it was like, wow, that was great. So, like, and I love that. Like, every year you read it and you relate to that daily scripture so
it
differently.
Never changes.
Like, it's like, it's always good. So even if it's starting with that, if it's listening to some music that, like, makes you feel a certain way, like, there's so many.
If it's reading a different book, that's not a Bible.
Yeah, if it's reading a book just on Christianity or whatever it is, like, that brings you to Jesus, like, your path and your journey to God is yours. I mean, we couldn't have done that better if we had rehearsed it. That was good. But it is. It is yours. It is yours.
Ours looks very different.
So different. Y'all hear it here. Y'all hear it. Y'all hear it if you're listening. Hear it.
And guess what? Mine's okay, and so is hers.
Amen, sister. It's all okay.
So is yours.
It's all okay. So just know. And if you are someone who's questioning and wants to reach out to someone and wants to, like, have some answers to some of your questions, like, I feel like we're both, I'm speaking for me, but we're
pretty
both
open books.
We are open books. So if you even want more details on either of our journeys, or like where we are now, or something that you're battling with, like, that you think we may have gone through, like, we are open. We are open books. I'm here to chat. Like, we both, like, she's gone on, met new people, and, like, literally went to dinner one night that, like, she didn't even know her, but she went. Like, we are putting ourselves out there for a reason. Like, we are here.
And we love these conversations. They're actually, like, if we've heard a few people tell us, like, oh my God, this is really helping me. I'm loving listening to this, but it's really helping us.
It's helping us so much. Like, I can't even, like, this is so important to me. Like, I literally am just like, I could
eat, sleep, breathe the pod.
Eat, sleep, breathe, lope. Living on a prayer.
We are living on a prayer morning and night.
All right. I didn't read the verse.
And all throughout the day.
I didn't read the verse.
Okay, so we'll close with it. We found a verse, that just kind of relates to this a little bit. As you know, we like to share a little bit, and the beginning of this is actually my favorite verse.
Kristen's
but then it
favorite
goes a little bit further into how you can make your walk in your relationship with God.
So we will close with this sweet little verse, Kristen's favorite verse.
Jeremiah 29.
Jeremiah. Yeah, you tell him.
Jeremiah 29:11.
For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. In those days, when you pray, I will listen. If you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me. I will be found by you, says the Lord.
So it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing.
Yes, amen. If you're looking for him, he will find you. And just give that journey grace. Give it grace, y'all. because it'll be worth it in the end, I promise. Okay.
All right.
See y'all next time.